record. Okay. What's up, guys, and thanks for joining me on another review. I watched a few really good shows and movies before the new year, and I found a gem for you. YuYu Hakusho. I'll put it this way. YuYu gotta go watch this movie.
I'm so funny.
This is a live-action adaptation of a manga and anime. I know people love to hate on these because it's not the same as the manga or book or whatever. I'm not one of those people because I don't watch too many animes. I love a good anime, don't get me wrong, but some of them just have so many episodes and are so long, it's hard for me to get into them. Now, this live action is the opposite. It was almost too short. It's only 5 episodes and they're under 60 minutes each. I was hungover after some holiday shenanigans because I have no self-control. So I decided this is the perfect time to check this show out. It was on my watch list for a minute, not really that long. I think it came out in December. So what better time than when your brain and body just want the couch? I figured I'd watch half an hour, get a little bored, flip to some YouTube to assuage my self-induced ADD, but I was immediately hooked on this show. I literally sat and watched each episode back to back to back to back for the entire 5 hours. If that sounds depressing, it's because it kind of is. But do I regret it? Absolutely not, and I'll tell you why. Themes are very important to me when it comes to movies and TV. Sex appeal is fun, crazy action is fun, watching massive explosions and giant monsters fight is awesome too. None of these things really need a great theme because I'm just watching to turn my brain off, and visually engaging things like that are easier to hold your attention. But when you want more, theme is where I see the standard really start to climb higher. One reason I do enjoy anime and movies like Kung Fu Hustle, another movie I think I might give a perfect 10 to, it's definitely my top 5 favorites, is that the theme is centered around busting your ass to reach your zenith. When the show begins, our main character, Yusuke Urameshi, played by the very smooth Takumi Kitamura, is this interesting blend of being an asshole, but also someone who defends the weak. He's a dick to his longtime friend, one of the only people who seems to care about him, Keiko Yukimura, played by Sei Shiraishi. Sorry, I'm still trying to pronounce these names properly. All right, spoiler alert. So the story begins when Yusuke dies, just after a frustrated Keiko tells him she hopes he dies because he was being an insufferable asshat. This was kind of interesting because he dies saving a little boy's life from a demon, and everyone knows he's dead. They're all crying for him, mourning him, and they have a wake or a funeral for him. Meanwhile, his spirit is in the afterlife of sorts. Essentially, because of his attitude, he's a solid candidate to be a defender of humanity from the demon realm, a demon investigator, something like that. He hesitantly agrees, and in doing so is sent back to the human realm. I thought this was interesting because the story of a guy who dies, then comes back to life after a few days later is clearly not new. It wasn't even new 2,000 years ago. So this was an interesting premise to see for me, especially coming from an Eastern country. So now that Yusuke is back among the living, accompanied by his Grim Reaper spirit guide, he has to get stronger to fight the evil forces rising up in the form of the uber wealthy who basically are so bored in life because they have everything, they just do dumb shit to fuck with humanity. At this point, we've already seen I can't even pronounce that. YuYu, I'm just calling YuYu, beat the hell out of folks. He's a strong fighter, as is, and he kind of goes about thinking he's already got what it takes to beat the demon forces. One such person is his rival, Kazuma Kumabara, played by Shuhei Usagi. I hated this character initially. He's a giant dick and bully, and I thought Shuhei did an amazing job with this character. He basically sees what's going on with Yusuke and forces his way into his training because he needs to be as powerful as his rival. He's just 100% focused on working his ass off to get where he wants to be. I love this dichotomy because you see they are competitive, but Kazuma should be way out of his depth. Ultimately, he can't get as powerful as YuYu, but there's an important part where YuYu and Kazuma go for training from a legendary teacher. Here we see YuYu still has arrogance and impatience. He doesn't understand the purpose of the weird training and gets frustrated because he just wants to fight. The teacher even asks him, why are you fighting if you don't want to train? If you don't do it, someone else will, so you can leave now if you want. The teacher gives Kazuma a seemingly impossible task at the same time. She tells him that he must use a wooden stick, to break a giant boulder in half. As hopeless as this seems, and it looks totally hopeless, Kazuma breaks a bunch of sticks and is literally spending the daylight hours just smashing them against this rock repeatedly. His hands are wrapped and bleeding, he's exhausted, but he keeps pushing through. YuYu sees this and it serves as an inspiration for him, especially when Kazuma actually accomplishes the feat, unlocking powers he never even knew he had. For me, this theme of the difficulty in pursuing one's dreams and goals is just so universal and so relatable, it immediately boosts the quality of the program. And this is the central theme to this show, in my opinion. They discuss strength too. The teacher tells you so, YuYu, I'm paraphrasing, but essentially, you can buy power, but when you do that, when you sell your soul to the devil, essentially, you are not strong. You are actually incredibly weak. We are living in the era of the weakest men. And no, I'm not talking about guys who are sensitive and shit. I'm talking about the loudmouths who get on TV and project strength by tearing others down and influence others in our own lives to do the same. It just looks like insecure weakness to me every single time I see it. And ultimately, this battle comes down to that. Can YuYu train hard and focus hard enough to motivate himself to unlock his powers? That's the question. His destiny is in his own hands the whole time. And the guy he has to beat is a guy who basically made a deal with the devil to gain power that he would have not been able to attain otherwise. The acting, in my opinion, was fantastic. This cast hit the anime notes spot on. I love the acting for its similarity to the animes. This isn't the most realistic acting or anything like that, and it's not trying to be. I thought everyone did a great job. I felt like I was watching a real-life anime, and I absolutely loved it. The writing was great as well. All the characters were so damn unique, and I loved the way they all interacted with each other. Western film and TV needs to take notes and stop making the characters all so similar. It gets so boring when you just see reimaginings of the same old characters and storylines. I didn't read any real Asian literature until I got to college, and let me tell you, those writers are just insane. You can see the skill of writing in this show that is based on a damn anime from the 90s. The last couple things I'll touch on are the cinematography and the action. I can't find the budget for this show because Netflix hides stats so much, but I saw some stories saying One Piece was about $20 million per episode. YuYu does not seem to have this budget. Everything seems to be done on a pretty small budget. The set pieces are pretty simple, costumes simple. They're literally all wearing pretty much the same clothes the entire series. I'm not familiar with the Japanese actors, but they are probably the most expensive part, and they definitely earn their paychecks. The special effects were great in my opinion. They didn't look overly expensive either. Nothing too crazy, but very well executed. This may have been another area they paid up, but like I said, nothing looked monumentally crazy. The action in this series was top tier. I do not understand how choreographers can still make such insane fight scenes. You would think that by now someone like me has seen it all and gets a bit bored, but man, these fight scenes had me on the edge of my seat. Just so aggressive, so much technique, just beautiful to watch. I'll end it there for now. I'm not sure how to rate TV shows just because some episodes have to be boring in order to move the show along. So you can't judge all these episodes the same way. However, overall, this show really had me feeling like it was in the 8 to 8.5 range, possibly even a 9. If you like anime or just great action with very entertaining and unique characters written well, do yourself a favor and go check this show out on Netflix. You will not be disappointed. With that, I'm out, guys. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching, and I appreciate you. Until next time. Deuces! You gotta go watch this show. Oh my gosh, I'm a genius, baby.